see as the next big thing in devices over the next 2 to 3 years? You know, and longer if you want to kind of discuss what you think beyond that. Ian?
I can go ahead and start. You know, I don't know that there's any one next big thing, but if you take a look at the landscape today, one of the things that you see is more and more emphasis on content. Every player in the mobility space is looking for ways to bring content and the value of content to mobile telephony. And by that I mean your music, your videos, cloud storage. Content is a major trend going forward. The other thing that we're seeing this year, and probably be table stakes by next year, is connectivity and the ability to connect your mobile phone to other devices and do it in a very simple, one-touch, no pairing, no menus, no fuss kind of way. So those are two things that I think you'll see in the short term going forward.
And actually very good points. I guess to add on top of that as well, a primary thing that has actually become a very strong point for a lot of platforms are the apps. So a lot of application development, a lot of features that you have on certain platforms or different devices. You see that cross-platform on some devices, some you may see exclusively on certain carriers or certain platforms. So for a lot of the app development, of course, a lot of different companies are looking at putting a lot of time into at least allowing different developers to create applications in which they have ownership of their own rights to those applications. So for the number of downloads that they get across platform for those devices, actually gives a rewarding feeling to a lot of people. So I think apps at this point and the number of apps are actually driving a lot of the future of what the mobile devices are capable of.
So I'm going to add on to both of those. So I think the first one, content, is very important, but not just content for content's sake, but I think how you get and interact with that content is where things are going. So you have, I think one of the next big things that you'll start to see much more announcements and things emerging is in the area of voice, and how you start to be able to interact with whatever the device is, whether you're in a car or in your house, to start using voice, because voice technology, there's been a lot of research in that area. I think that will start to become prolific. I think on the app side, I think the apps are very important. I think the apps originally is what drove the success, in my opinion, of the iPad this go around, because a lot of people said, oh, you know, Microsoft has tried it before, Intel played in the space before. There's lots of failed attempts, but I think it was the apps that actually ended up being the game changer for the acceptance and the use of that device.
Actually, I like that. Let's continue down the apps, because I'm still an app developer. You know, we keep hearing Microsoft has X number of apps in their store. Apple has X number. Google has X number. They're astronomical numbers. You know, how many people have actually downloaded, say, has less than 5 apps? 5 or less. 10 or less. 15 or less. 20 or less. How many have done 20 or more? Okay. What is the right mix? I mean, how many of an app do you need, or what kind of apps are being looked for? Karen?
I think it depends on different people, but I think if you start looking at the ecosystem saying, oh, well, you know, Apple has 1 million apps and Microsoft only has, 300,000, I think it becomes a bad numbers game to play, because that's not in the end what matters. There's probably, I can't remember the number I've heard, I think there's 20 apps that most people use. I don't think that was reflected in this room, however, so maybe that's off. But the point is, you don't need 10,000 apps, much less 300,000 apps. So you need a variety because different people use them for different things. But I think to play the numbers game, to try and pit one ecosystem against the other is not the right way of looking at it.
And I actually do want to, of course, kind of go a little bit more in depth on it. A lot of the times it is a misconception on the number of apps that you hear. Of course, it seems more that's a boastful thing to kind of share. It's like, yeah, I have 600,000 apps. How many do you have? It's like maybe about 80,000. So if anything, the apps that you primarily would use would be cross-platform. Those exclusive rights for like certain games or certain programs that you'll see on certain devices, which predominantly have gone towards Android and iPhone, you primarily see. But from the Windows Phone aspect, you do see a lot of those applications available. But as far as the actual push for different things that you are commonly not seeing in Windows phones are the development to where open sourcing is available. So if I wanted to create an application right now, I may be able to create an application that would be on an Android platform. Whereas a Windows Phone platform, you do have that right, but at the same time, there are different development tools that you have to go through. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes that development does take a major role in. And Microsoft is very big on actually making sure that they are listening to the users, because at the biggest time, it's actually about the users. It's not so much about exactly what all you know about the phone, is exactly what you can do with the phone. So a lot of times for different things that you want to learn about, those tools are available, but you just have to be a lot more aware of them.
You know, I don't know that I could add much more to that. I think that the gross number of apps is meaningless. I think the consumer wants the apps they want. So, you know, for all those people who say they have 20 or more, it may be 20 or more different ones for each individual. So I think as this space matures, consumers are going to get more and more of a feel for where can I get the ones I want. And it's the people who have the ones they want that they're going to go patronize.
And I have one more question on this thread, and we'll move on to another topic. But I was reading somewhere where they were talking about, you know, now every phone is a smartphone for the most part. The old feature phones are going away. Even my mother now has a smartphone. However, the usage of apps and usage of data on those devices is not necessarily going up. What could potentially change that? What could drive more usage, or what could actually get people to start and want to use those types of devices for more than just making a phone call? Sure. Oh, okay. Sorry.
No, are you saying for people
who are not currently, they're smartphone owners, but do not use the capabilities of a smartphone?
So, are we on, by the way?
No, something happened.
Okay.
So I'll just yell really loud. So I'm going to use my mom as an example. My mom is 82. She has a phone that she only turns on when she wants to call me. And I kid you, I've had this conversation with her many times. She now literally tells me, because I've shown her, I'm on back on, okay. I'll say my voice. So she literally tells me, you know, oh, there's all these new cool phones that I'm seeing. Maybe I should get one. And I just start laughing. I'm like, you don't even turn it on. What are you going to do? She's like, I don't know, but it looks really cool. So, you know, for my mom and people of that in that same grouping, I think they see it, they think it's interesting, and I know that she knows that I'm on Facebook and I post pictures and I do things, and for her, and maybe that generation, to be connected to people that they usually don't stay connected to, and they see themselves kind of growing out of this technology realm, I think they see that as a way to maybe try to bridge that gap of, well, I'm not on Facebook, I don't text, I don't get pictures of my grandkids, and then she gives me that look, and I think she thinks, you know, I can start to receive information that I don't already get. So, you know, that's for my mom's generation. I don't know if you guys want to talk about something else.
Yeah, you know, I have a dad who's 82 years old as well, and he is the same way. You know, now he is starting to leave the phone on, thankfully. So not just when but he uses the same thing. You know, I think that what will help this change and grow is less intimidation. I think people have to feel, you know, less stupid trying to use these things, right? The ease of use factor, simplicity, right? Easy to launch, easy to get, easy to understand, right? The ease of use factor is not to be overstated here. I mean, this is huge. This is what will make, you know, people get more comfortable.
And it's actually ironic that you got onto the ease of use. The Windows Phone platform, I honestly can kind of push strongly for on that one. Of course, I do want to actually personally say that I do have a Nokia Lumia 920. And of course, I actually just got my mom upgraded to a Lumia 900 just this week. So, of course, I do have a little bit of teaching to do when I get home as well. But the biggest thing is the fact that the ease of use is a lot easier on a Windows phone due to the fact of the live tile usage. So for, say for instance, the larger screen tiles that you see on the Windows 8 operating system now, that's the same thing you see on the phone. So the easy way to, instead of looking at a smaller icon on like a phone that would typically be at like a 3, maybe 4, maybe 5-inch screen size, which I'm pretty sure we'll get into later, it makes it a lot easier on a larger scale screen to also see a larger scale tile. So if it actually says a tile that shows a picture of your family member or a friend, and it actually says dad or mom or your daughter or your family member, it makes it easier for you to actually press on that tile and easily make a phone call. Or easily press on the tile and get an update of different weather or different sports apps or different sports updates. So the ease of use is the biggest driving force to where a lot of people want to feel comfortable using their phone, so it makes it easier for you to show off the phone. I'm pretty sure pretty much a lot of us in the room have tried to show something off and they forgot how to do it. Mainly just because you tried it one time and then it's like, oh wait, give me a second, let me make sure I know how to do this. But I mean, it makes it a lot easier to, of course, to press on a few tiles, and it makes it easier for you to open up the application, so that show the picture that you like, or run the favorite video that your grandson, your granddaughter just did that kind of made you laugh. So the ease of use is a big driver for us.
Okay, and you touched on the next discussion is, where are we going with the device sizes? I mean, you've got, I started out with this, and it's still my favorite size device. Now you have the 7-inch. Now you have the 5-inch Note. You have your, now I'm carrying a mobile phone the size of my tablet to make a phone call. You're kind of walking around like this now. Where are we going with this? What is the real next step?
I think I'll touch on that one. So it still goes back to the larger scale screens, which of course the tablets at this point have gone down in size. So you don't actually see a lot of the 10 or 11-inch screen size tablets due to the fact that not too many people want to carry a larger device as far as like a computer or a mobile device is concerned. As far as that middle bridge between the phones and the tablets now, the phone scale screen size have gotten larger due to the fact it makes it easier to view. There's a lot of people that take mobile phones with them now. It's more than just the phone calls. So you actually have videos. You have Netflix or different video applications running. You'll have different sports apps running on one end, and you have another application running on the other end. So you have a larger scale screen size to work on, so that way you can navigate through different things. So the screen sizes, of course, it is kind of going in the reverse direction because they did start small, but they're going larger. But it gives a lot more power behind those devices too. You have a lot more stronger processors inside the devices, a lot faster as far as memory is concerned, and a lot larger as far as storage too. So it does help to have larger scale screens because you have a lot more expansion on top of those. But at the same time, of course, you don't want to have like an 8-inch phone saying hello. So of course, it still caters to specifically which kind of customers would look at different type of mobile devices too.
So I think we're past the stage of one size fits all. I think what the industry has shown is that it is possible to build a range of sizes for a range of consumers and do it profitably. At least Samsung has shown it. So I think we'll see over time a range of sizes in smartphones, the 4.3-inch, 4.7-inch, 5-inch. We just saw Huawei at CES with a 6-inch. You'll see 6.5-inch, you'll see 7-inch phablets, and I think consumers will have great choices. Depending on what you want to do, the application that you have, the size screen that you feel good looking at. We're talking about the aging of America here, right? As I get older, I'm not so uncomfortable with a 5.5-inch screen or a 6-inch screen. So I think it'll be all about choice.
I think you're spot on. I see people very happy with, the Nokia Lumia, which to me is, I really barely can hold it in one hand, but, and maybe there's a difference between, literally a difference between female and male phones, because I want to be able to put it in my pocket, right? And I want to be able to use it with one hand. So I think it just depends on the person. The phablet thing, like the Galaxy, I do not understand that. But I'm not their target apparently.
And I will touch on one last thing as well too. And of course, marketing does play a key role in actually the use of the phone. So of course, which I will give a little bit of kudos to Apple as far as one of the commercials I do remember. So as far as the comfortability of, like, say for instance, holding a phone and with your thumb going from here to here, a lot of those phones still have that capability. So of course, with a lot larger as far as the actual length of the phone, you still have a lot wider viewing vertically on seeing it. But a lot of times you still want to make sure you can hold the phone with one hand and still be able to navigate without using two hands to text someone. So a lot of times you want to make sure you still have that rewarding feeling that you don't have to have both hands to control the device. That should actually only make a phone call. So that actually does play a key role with a lot of people's selection choice as far as choosing a Windows phone over an Android phone or an iPhone. So you have a lot of choices as well.
So we're actually going to go a little bit further out into the future. There's a lot of being discussed now around wearable devices. I mean, you have things like the Android Lily Pad. There's been several announcements at CES. What do you see moving forward with the wearable type devices, and what kind of things would we expect to see, say, in 5 to 10 years? Karen?
So there is, I'm going to mess up on the name. Google has, is it just Glass? It's Glass. So I don't know if you know Glass, but it's basically like, I call it the Minority Report glasses, right? You know, to have the little thing that you can see things and it turns into a camera. And I actually think that probably for quite a few people, that will catch on. And it has a lot of good, interesting uses. You know, people saying, hey, here I am skydiving out of a plane. I will never be that person. But I think there's, a lot of people that will be like, oh, this is really cool, and I look like the dude in Minority Report. So I think that's one. I think one of the more realistic or more down-to-earth applications for that is going to come in form of healthcare and things that you can do in the healthcare industry of wearing devices for, whether it is you're diabetic or the whole, I've fallen and I can't get up. I think those would be my 2 points.
Ian?
Yeah, well, so, we are at Sony kind of already taking a half a step down this path. If you look on our table back here, you'll see a smartwatch. The smartwatch connects to your smartphone via Bluetooth, and you can do a lot of your phone functions right from the face of your watch. That's step one, but I think Karen's exactly right. I think the healthcare industry provides tremendous opportunity for innovation in wearable devices, and I think as radios get smaller, batteries get smaller, I think you'll start to see things that we've only seen in your science fiction movies.
Laing?
And speaking from the retail side of Microsoft, since we do have actual brick and mortar store in the Atlanta location, as far as the gaming is concerned, for mobile gaming, I'd say about maybe 30 to 35% of our customers, quote unquote customers, are the kids. So of course with a lot of the tablets that we have now, it shocks us from employee side to actually see a 3-year-old kid that can barely walk. Of course, is still looking for their mom and dad, but they can get up on the stools and use the tablet before the parents do. So a lot of times that is a shocking factor for us to actually still show the kid, hey, well, this is how you play Cut the Rope or play Fruit Ninja. And I mean, that mobile gaming still plays a factor for all ages. So even from the young ages of toddlers to which if a parent is looking at a device, it still helps for that parent to still use it for the children too. So the LeapPad is a very innovative choice to where you have specifically one aspect for the kids to play. But even with a lot of devices now, a lot of those still have the kid side to it. But as far as actually still kind of migrating it from the kid side to the parent side, there are ways to where you can kind of keep those away from each other so you don't have a document right next to Angry Birds. So that does play a key role if you're trying to actually work on some things and you accidentally hit Angry Birds and open it up. So it does make a big difference. And of course with the mobile gaming as well, the Xbox 360 and Kinect is a very huge aspect as far as the gaming system is concerned. So it actually makes it a lot more innovative for future devices to come out to where you actually have a lot more wireless gaming as well too. So without even actually picking up a controller, you're standing in front of the game system and you're playing with without a controller in hand. So a lot of the devices now are really becoming very innovative to where, who knows, what might actually come in the near future.